Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're back in Space Engineers, showing a little bit of progress on our strike craft design that we've been working on. Since the last video, we've had a lot of good feedback and suggestions and even requests as to some features to add on to our strike craft design. So of course, what we have here is several variants of it and of course related craft. What we have, of course, on the right here first is the initial design, which we've gone over in the previous video. Obviously, we haven't changed anything on the initial design, as is not our way. We tend to go on to making a new variant of it, which is what the Mark 1B over here is. Now, this incorporates a feature that was requested, which was to add on the ability to attach external weapon pods. So basically, it's just got two merge blocks, and of course you can see the two extra batteries on the wings would give it extra power. And the merge blocks are just there to attach any player-designed weapon pod that you want to it. It's pretty much your universal strike craft. We did remove the third vertical thruster that was on the bottom, as you can see there, and that's really lightened the profile on it. And of course we added some side thrusters, one small side thruster to each, and that particular change has repeated in all of our designs, and actually went back and retroactively added those to the previous versions as well, since it did give just enough stabilization to not have to worry about the drifting so much. Now, moving on from there. Okay, as you can see, our Mark II-C, we haven't really done anything different with this here. This is just one of the designs that pretty much stands out because it has the option to carry an additional passenger, and of course our hopper here, our light scout, has not changed much other than the paint job. But what is really interesting is we went on and made a Mark III variant. And this basically was incorporating the tail design from the Mark II and the wing design from the Mark I. As you can see, I really like the way the wing design turned out on the Mark I. It had a nice natural slope to it and looks really nice that way, I think. And of course the tail section looked a lot better on the Mark IIs, so we went ahead and incorporated that into the Mark III design. Now this one here is set up with chain guns and reloadable rocket launchers. It's got two medium cargo containers that you can see on the wings, and basically it just has a slightly heavier weight. I believe it comes in at 52 kilograms, 52,000 kilograms rather, while the other ones ranged around the 42 to 44 kilogram range. Now, of course, this is more of a sustainable fighter design here, and of course, you can see the side thrusters we're talking about on the wings there. Basically, the design here is just your all-purpose strike craft, and it's really just a bit more robust. It actually has a longer lifespan power-wise because we've added more batteries on the inside as well, since we basically redid the entire interior while keeping the general shape the same. And of course you can see we've added on two small forward thrusters. They're not needed. It still has good thrust with the two large, of course, but that way if one of your wing thrusters gets shot off, you will be able to still navigate with it, basically. Now, moving on to something else we did, since we really liked the idea, the suggestion we had here from one of our viewers about adding the merge blocks, and we went on to make one that was more friendly. Because you can see with the Mark 1B here, you don't really have much space to work with. You basically have two small blocks of clearance to attach onto. So basically you would end up having at most a 5 wide block range on the side there, if you're keeping it symmetrical, to attach onto, and then of course you go further out with it. But basically it just means that your payload options are limited. It's a very small craft. So we went on and made a heavy strike craft variant. You'll see the initial chassis over there, which is what we worked on first, and of course this is the first mock-up of it. It's a two-man system, though of course it can operate entirely on one cockpit. It has the merge blocks on the wings here with plenty of extra space. In fact, you have exactly 6 blocks of clearance until you're dragging on the ground, basically. Cut that off. And then, of course, you basically have 2 good blocks of clearance on either side. So that allows you to make a much larger payload item that you can attach to both wings. We haven't really worked out the housing for the vertical thrusters on the end of the wing. Of course, we're going to do a better design with that. This was basically just to get it prototyped and running. You can notice here it's got a primary, well, not really a primary, but basically it has a thruster housing here attached to the tail. There are 4 on each side, so a total of 8. forward and reverse thrusters. It's got a good stopping power that way. And of course, you can see this one, we did the design slightly smaller. We're probably going to go back to something similar to this, because this one looked a lot better on the original chassis. And what we also have on the wing is a total of 8 per wing. It's a total of 16 additional small thrusters. We did try it with large thrusters there, but they stuck out just enough to look kind of tacky in my opinion. Of course, I got to move the wing further back and fix that. And of course, let me turn the lights off on it. There we go. It's got a total of 12 reloadable missile launchers that are fully geared up. And of course, the turret mount on the top is also geared up to the large conveyor system straight to the cargo container and the connector on the bottom. So basically, you will be able to replace that with a missile turret if you prefer, or any other variant thereof. The idea is that your co-pilot here would be able to man the turret, and of course man your wings as well for bombing, or any other features you want to add onto your pods. And of course your pilot has the fixed rocket launchers and the single chain gun. Chain gun's more so just a last-ditch defensive weapon. And the rockets are your primary source of attack outside of whatever you're carrying as a payload there. So of course we're going to work on the design some more, and as you've seen with our last set of videos, is our designs tend to evolve quite drastically as we go through them. So we'll get something a lot better looking. I do like the way the initial chassis turned out, so you can tell better from just the chassis cutout. So that will probably stay mostly the same. You can see there is some difference on the bottom and further back, of course, already, but we're pretty much going to keep that chassis the same. It's really the wings I had trouble with because I wanted to go with a high elevation wing, and it just ended up rather thick. As you can see, we've got 3 whole blocks of armor recessed in. Now, this has got, I believe, a total of 30 gyroscopes on it, and about 15 batteries on it. It's got 40 days of idle power with the lights on, 3 hours of hovering power, and of course, with everything going, just doing all kinds of crazy maneuvers and everything firing on there, it's got a good 30 to 45 minutes of power in those batteries. We'll probably see about adding a solar panel on top of the wings, 1 for each wing, just to give it an auxiliary source of power. So you can see we have a lot of lights on it. Now the reason for the lights, of course, is so that you can see. Good. Activate these again. We'll leave it elevated. Get you a better look. Alright, so basically the lights aren't just so you can see when you're going forward, but also so you can see while you're loading, and of course when you're coming into land. And we'll group each of those independently, so that way you can turn them on and off as needed. So you can go completely dark while you're flying in for an attack run, and then turn your landing lights on when you're coming down to land, and your loading lights when you need them, and of course your regular pilot lights, I guess you could say, for whenever you're just cruising around looking for stuff. It has the internal antenna, of course. It also has an internal ore detector, just in case, because, again, payload, you can do pretty much anything you want with it. It's more of a strike craft, but it's kind of also all-purpose. Get our light back on. There we go. Alright, so we'll work on the engine housing there, probably redo the wing design, and fix up the tail on it. But that's pretty much the gist of the design there. That's, well, like I said, pretty much the gist of the design there. So, of course, hope you guys found it helpful or inspirational in some way. Let me know what you guys think about this. Any more suggestions or feedback on it is always appreciated. And of course, as always, have a good day.